Two yellow weasels are running freely on the rooftop. Their objective is clear: the invincible gauntlet. Hanging at the highest point of the village, the rooftop brick walls are their stepping stones. Completely disregarding the vibrations caused by their footsteps, they have already closed the closet door. They only focus on moving forward. When everyone realizes someone is trying to steal the invincible gauntlet, everyone starts shouting. This catches the attention of Dragon Warrior Poe, who is waiting for dinner inside the closet. He immediately wants to intervene and stop them. However, the closet door is tightly closed, preventing him from coming out. Outside, the rhino guards responsible for protecting the invincible gauntlet immediately activate their defensive mechanisms. Countless weapons rise from the ground in an instant. The yellow weasels remain undaunted and easily dodge the weapons. They even use the mechanisms as stepping stones. Taking advantage of the opportunity, they counterattack. The three rhino guards are also fierce and invincible. While attacking, they try to persuade the weasels to surrender. The yellow weasels, small and agile, move swiftly. They dodge left and right under the blades and axes, evading the attacks. They head straight for the main gate. They throw darts that stick into the door. The darts form a ladder that they can step on to reach the invincible gauntlet. The rhino guards immediately pull the second lever. The wooden door falls, knocking the yellow weasels to the ground. At the same time, iron nets trap them. The yellow weasels have nowhere to hide and are captured. The battle ends, and the crisis is resolved. At this moment, Poe is still trying to open the door. He is impatient and furious. He takes a firm step, and puts all his strength into ramming the door. He jumps out of the window, and jumps down from the second floor. He lands on a cart. As a result, the water bucket on the cart is catapulted and hits the mechanism of the door. The iron net is released. The yellow weasels regain their freedom. Although the rhino guards quickly surround the two of them, the invincible gauntlet is hit by the water bucket. It falls into the hands of the yellow weasels. All the fighting was in vain. The gauntlet still ended up in the hands of the enemy. Poe watches everything from the cart. Suddenly, a water bucket falls from the eaves. Poe is once again catapulted. He takes the opportunity to show his flying skills. He charges straight towards the yellow weasels. He snatches the gauntlet and strikes a pose in midair. He earns the admiration and worship of everyone. The gauntlet on Poe's hand emits a green light. We know this is a signal for releasing energy. Poe loses control and falls towards the ground. He punches the ground. The gauntlet's energy explodes. The entire village crumbles and cracks. Smoke and dust envelop the area, turning it into ruins. Poe realizes he has caused a catastrophe. He can't control the gauntlet's energy. He quickly takes it off, intending to return it. The yellow weasels appear, and fight for the gauntlet. The three of them tug and pull, unwilling to give in. The yellow weasels shoot a hidden dart. Poe quickly dodges. He exerts force and breaks off the gauntlet's thumb. The yellow weasels escape with the remaining gauntlet. There is a person standing on the rooftop, wearing a helmet and a cape, dressed like a knight. She watches everything unfold. Then she follows the yellow weasels. Poe doesn't give up and joins the chase. However, he quickly becomes out of breath after running a few steps. The yellow weasels jump onto a cable car and escape. The knight follows closely, running on the cable like it's solid ground. Poe also jumps onto the cable. He uses his hands as a balancing pole to walk. After a few steps, he starts flipping and tumbling up and down. He hangs himself on the cable. The cable can't bear the weight and breaks instantly. Everyone falls into a deep abyss together. Fortunately, the cable car protects them, ensuring their safety. However, the next moment brings a new crisis. They see the cable car about to plunge off a cliff. Poe grabs the gauntlet and makes a desperate leap. He grabs onto the cliff. The yellow weasels, taking advantage of their physique, step on Poe and land ground smoothly. They take the opportunity to snatch back the gauntlet. Then they activate the green energy and strike with a punch. The rocks were shaken off on the entire cliff. The cliff that Poe is holding onto also explodes. Luckily, he survives by falling into the water. When he returns to the village, he sees the villagers cleaning up the debris. He tries to help but is politely rejected. It can be said that Poe has destroyed the entire village. If it weren't for his interference, the gauntlet wouldn't be lost, and the village wouldn't be leveled. Now, trying to be a good person, no one is willing to believe him anymore. From that point on, the reputation of the Dragon Warrior plummets. He went from being popular to being universally disliked. The Rat Emperor even issued a decree to strip Poe of his Dragon Warrior title. Now he has become a wanted criminal. Poe returns to Mr. Ping seeking comfort. However, he sees the knight tracking him, and she introduces herself. She is a brown bear named Beatrice, a royal knight from England. She is sent by the Queen to China to capture the yellow weasel partners. Now they have the invincible gauntlet. Their power has greatly increased, and should not be underestimated. Beatrice hopes that Poe can join forces with her to capture the fugitives and restore his reputation. Each side will gain what they need and achieve mutual success. Poe is greatly tempted by this proposal. He decides to join Beatrice on the journey to capture the yellow weasels. He wants to prove that he's not that great, but he will personally retrieve what he has lost. Moreover, he still has the gauntlet's thumb. It will surely make things easier. Furthermore, the Yellow Weasel partners have not yet revealed their true intentions. They only appear to be stealing things everywhere. The energy of the invincible gauntlet is simply unbeatable. They are surrounded by a group of lizard bandits. The Yellow Weasel unleashes a powerful attack with the gauntlet. Green energy instantly sweeps over the entire hilltop. Even the thumb thousands of miles away is affected. The thumb drags Po towards the direction of the Yellow Weasel. It turns out there is a connection between the gauntlets. Whenever one party attacks, the other is drawn towards it. This helps Po and Beatrice find the direction to pursue. Watching the green waves of energy emanating from the distant mountains, the two of them decide to immediately pursue the Yellow Weasel. During the journey, Beatrice reveals the crimes of the Yellow Weasel. Two Yellow Weasels, one named Klaus and the other named Veruca, are a pair of evil sorcerers. They abused their sorcery and angered the queen, so she wanted them captured and executed, but they received the news in advance, and they extended their evil hand towards the queen. Yet, their plan failed. Veruca was captured and thrown into the dungeon. Klaus stormed the dungeon and rescued Veruca. They came to China, in search of the invincible gauntlet with its mysterious power. Beatrice traveled a long distance to pursue the fugitives, thus preventing them from further harming the world. The knight's honor prevents her from making mistakes. It is necessary to capture the two individuals, and return home to report. Speaking of which, a river of magma appears in front of them, blocking their path. The earlier bold words instantly dissipate. Overcoming the immediate obstacle is the most important. The magma's temperature is exceptionally high. Falling into it would surely be fatal. However, there are no rope bridges in the vicinity. Po has his own solution. He joins his hands together, entering a state of unity between heaven and man. Then he leaps into the magma, landing steadily on a rock. Po uses the rocks as stepping stones. He jumps to the cliff on the other side. Chinese Kung Fu lives up to its reputation. Beatrice is in a dilemma as she doesn't know Chinese Kung Fu. She cannot cross the magma. Po has his own solution. He throws a rope to the other side. He instructs Beatrice to tie herself to a tree trunk. On the other end, Po steadies himself in pile squat, and ties the rope around his waist. A makeshift suspension bridge is completed. He has seen Beatrice running and jumping on ropes. This small amount of magma is not a problem. Encouraged by Po, Beatrice steps onto the rope. Just as she reaches 1/3 of the way, the group of lizard bandits reappear. The classic lines are repeated. They reveal their identities as bandits. They take the opportunity to snatch Beatrice's sword. Po employs his incredible whip skills at the shore. He strikes the bandits, preventing them from approaching. Beatrice is not exempt either. She launches continuous attacks on the rope. Just as she almost falls, Po throws all the lizards on the rope into the magma. Beatrice takes the opportunity to rush to the other side and land safely. These lizards may not be skilled, but their advantage lies in their numbers. Engaging in a prolonged battle will only exhaust them. Po and Beatrice realize the situation and choose to retreat. However, they accidentally stumble into the lizard's lair. They are faced with enemies in front, and pursuers behind. Their sword is taken by the lizards. The two of them start climbing, and fighting for the sword. The handholds they use for climbing are actually the entrance to the lizard nest. Beatrice launches consecutive attacks and climbs upward. Po deals with the pursuers on the ground. The two of them cooperate, and develop instant teamwork. One of them lures the enemies out of the nest. The other defeats them one by one. They finally capture the bandit leader. They thought they could end the battle. As a result, countless lizards spew out from the cave entrance. In an instant, they push both of them off the magma cliff. Just as everyone is free falling into the magma, Po propels himself with one foot. He kicks Beatrice onto the shore. He joins his hands together once again, achieving unity between heaven and man. He lands steadily on a rock in the magma. Then, disregarding aerodynamics, he jumps upward. Countless falling lizards become his stepping stones. Po steps on each one of them as he ascends. In mid-air, he seizes the sword. Finally, he lands steadily on the shore. He was just about to return the sword to Beatrice. The energy from his thumb is attracted by magnetism. Po flies towards the magma. Beatrice steps forward to help and pulls Po back. It must be the work of the Yellow Weasel using the gauntlets again. The two of them watch the green shockwaves emanating from a distant village. It must be the Yellow Weasel there. That is a royal library. It is managed and guarded by monks. It can also be considered a temple. The two of them are unaware of the Yellow Weasel's intentions. They still decide to go and investigate. The hedgehog monk is responsible for maintaining the library. They discover the Yellow Weasel. At the stalemate, the opponent activates the gauntlets once again. The entire temple turns into ruins. Fortunately, the stone structure of the library, left by ancient people, remains unaffected. It still stands tall and firm. Po quickly arrives at the scene. He jumps into the collapsing building. He rescues all the hedgehogs from danger. Elder Hedgehog Huang steps forward, and thanks Dragon Warrior. Po reveals the fact that his title has been stripped away. Elder Huang has his own judgment. People who uphold justice and righteousness deserve respect. In his heart, Po is still the dragon warrior. Beatrice asks if there are any clues about the thief. Elder Huang assures her not to worry. The thief has already been trapped in a cage. Moreover, the royal guards are on their way. They will hand the thief over to the emperor for judgment. Po and Beatrice find a way to reach the confinement area. When they lift the cloth, they discover the so-called thief. It turns out to be a hedgehog named Xiao Ci. Xiao Ci is accused of researching fireworks and firecrackers. It is believed that he must be responsible for the explosions. Disappointed that it's not the yellow weasel, Po and Beatrice return. However, Xiao Ci says he has seen the yellow weasel's accomplice. If they rescue him from the cage, he can provide detailed information. Beatrice, not understanding the strict laws of the empire, agrees to a prison raid, while Po has a different perspective. How can they simply rescue a royal prisoner? What if he is truly a person with a long history of evil deeds? Moreover, rescuing a prisoner from jail would mean becoming enemies of the royal family. Law-abiding citizens do not wish to compromise their principles. Most importantly, Elder Huang is the only person who believes in Po as the dragon warrior. They must not betray that trust. However, Beatrice quotes an ancient Chinese saying, "When faced with two evils, choose the lesser one." She asks Po to analyze the pros and cons. If the yellow weasel is not captured and brought to justice soon, it will continue to cause chaos. They are misusing energy without knowing their intentions. In the future, more villages will be destroyed. Po is persuaded. Although reluctant emotionally, he still joins Beatrice in the prison raid. On one night, Po activates his skill, leaping left and right using a bamboo pole to bounce into the attic. At that moment, two guards are playing chess inside the house, and Po lives up to expectations, moving quietly. After creating a series of disturbances, he drags the cage out of the window. One careless move, the cage falls directly onto the Rhino Guard's prison wagon. Everyone thanks Dragon Warrior for helping, and they don't forget to mock him, saying that Dragon Warrior is actually a wanted criminal of the court. Just as the Rhino Guard is feeling triumphant, Beatrice takes the initiative. She knocks out the leader with a bamboo pole, then she throws the weapon to Po. Po keeps apologizing, but his hands don't stop attacking. He overwhelms the opponent, leaving them defenseless. With Beatrice's assistance, the two of them escape to a safe zone with Xiao Ci. First, let's listen to his testimony. In ancient times, according to the legend, the continent was still a whole and not fragmented. There existed uncontrollable dark forces. They bullied the weak, leading to the suffering of all living beings. Several righteous individuals couldn't bear it. They vowed to rescue the people from misery. They forged weapons to deter revilers. When the four major weapons were combined, they possessed earth-shattering power. Now the Yellow Weasel's goal is to collect the divine artifacts. They came to the library, intending to steal ancient books and maps. Initially, everyone planned to capture them and retrieve the gauntlet. Now, 3 more divine artifacts have appeared. The mission has become even more difficult. Simply following the Yellow Weasel is not a solution. How can we predict their movements and set up ambushes in advance? Po says this story sounds so familiar. The fire whip among the 4 divine artifacts is not the first time he has heard of it. It was mentioned in a picture book he has read, at the beginning of Pan-Gu creating the heaven and earth. Chaos was shattered, and the world went through renewal. A master with canine teeth swung the fire whip in his hand, and separated the land. When the world was in chaos, the master realized that the fire whip was too powerful. Mortals couldn't control it. It would inevitably cause conflicts, and leave behind a source of calamity. Subsequently, they decided to seal it, but no one knew the location of the seal. Po took out the picture book and reread it. The story matched the legend perfectly, so the author must know the whereabouts of the divine whip. They first find the author and inquire about its location. Then they arrive in advance, ready to wait for the Yellow Weasel to take the bait. However, behind them, the Emperor's elite Imperial Guards are also tracking them. Po and the others arrive at a village. They see his wanted poster on the bulletin board. The portrait is clear and recognizable. Who doesn't know this panda? To avoid causing chaos, Po decides to disguise himself. After inquiring around, they learn that the author passed away 3 days ago. The author has a son, an armadillo. He is still resisting the fans who come to inquire. They want to know the ending of the book. The armadillo stands on the courtyard wall, watering with a hose. He wants to scare away the fans. Po and Beatrice are also present. They climb over the wall and enter the study. They want to sneak a look at the author's manuscript to find the ending. But before they can read it, the armadillo raises a crossbow arrow as a threat. He shoots the arrow at a bronze gong in the square. The deafening sound makes everyone cover their ears. This also attracts the attention of the Imperial Guards. The 3 people in the study start fighting. In the midst of the chaos and struggle, the manuscript falls onto a candle. The armadillo quickly jumps onto the table to save it. The book is only slightly damaged and not greatly affected. In a moment of sadness, the armadillo reveals the truth. If he doesn't read the ending, he feels like his father is still there. Once he reads the ending, it's like the end of the story. His father will never come back again. Seeing this, Beatrice shares her own story to comfort the armadillo. Her spring equinox black steel sword is her brother's heirloom. She used to hesitate to use the sword, because it was precious, but the mission of a sword is to cut through obstacles. Keeping it locked in a room would be a waste, so she uses the sword to punish evil and injustice. In this way, it feels like her brother is with her. He never left. The same principle applies. The purpose of a book is to be read. If it's left in the study gathering dust, his father's wishes are hard to reconcile. That would be the greatest disrespect. The armadillo thinks it makes sense. He decides to read the ending together with the other two. When the canine master sealed the fire whip, he believed that someone would eventually unlock the seal and save the world. To dispel curiosity, the best way is to reveal the truth. So he announces it to the world. The fire whip's power is extraordinary and dark. It's uncontrollable, and he tells everyone where it is, warning them not to approach. Finally, he draws a map to guide everyone away from it. That's how the book ends. The armadillo decides to print the ending, and share it with the world. He tears off the map and gives it to Beatrice as a gift. Poe and Beatrice immediately set off to the location on the map. On the way, Poe says to Beatrice, "I can also be a friend you can open up to." Beatrice remains indifferent and cold. If she has to choose between friendship and duty, she will always choose her duty. It's a knight's belief. After saying that, the Imperial Guards appear before them. Beatrice steps forward to fight. However, there are too many skilled opponents. They are overwhelmed. Poe is captured and taken to the capital city in a cage. Beatrice has to face the choice between her friend and her duty. She now has the map in her hands. She can catch the yellow weasel right away. After a moment of contemplation, she ultimately chooses to continue her mission. On the way back to the capital, Poe is ambushed. A black goat shoots out a rope weapon. It binds the Imperial Guards. Poe thinks the other person has come to rescue him. He wants to express his gratitude. Nevertheless, the other person raises a knife to kill him. In desperation, Poe drives the prison cart down the mountain. The prison cart shatters, and Poe escapes. Beatrice goes through a difficult and treacherous journey. She finally sees the lost city depicted on the map. She needs to cross the desert to find the entrance to the oasis. A group of yellow weasels also follows her. Poe, on the other hand, is in high spirits. After escaping, he feels relaxed and content. He encounters a member of the Imperial Guard. The other person admires the dragon warrior, and wants to become a follower. To show loyalty, he carries Poe and arrives at the lost city. Various parties converge, and a big battle is about to begin. Poe, true to his food-loving nature, starts with a bowl of noodles. Meanwhile, the two yellow weasels quietly pass behind him. The two of them follow closely without slacking. Just as they arrive in the city, they feel extremely tired and thirsty. They want to eat and drink but have no money. So, the two of them come up with an idea. One person is responsible for attracting everyone's attention. The other person takes advantage of the distraction to mooch food and drinks. Just as the yellow weasels create chaos and commotion, Poe is also drawn towards the commotion. Poe immediately takes action to capture the yellow weasels. Yet, he is tripped and knocked down by his own follower. At this moment, the Imperial Guard reveal their true intentions. He pretended loyalty was just to find the right moment to strike. He planned to capture Poe and take him back to the capital for personal gain and promotion. After hearing this, Poe realizes that his good fortune has vanished. In an instant, his rage fills up, and he unleashes a powerful attack. He breaks free from the high platform that was chaining him and pulls it down. He also throws the Imperial Guard into a garbage heap. The noise alerts Beatrice, who is nearby. The yellow weasels try to take advantage of the situation and escape. Poe and Beatrice join forces once again to chase after the yellow weasels. The Imperial Guard quickly catch up and launch a deadly attack. Their ultimate move is spitting acid. Everything they touch instantly turns to smoke. Poe and Beatrice dodge the attack. Beatrice raises her sword and strikes. As a result, Poe's chains are cut, and he regains his freedom. The carriage carrying the Imperial Guard continues rolling forward and crashes into a pillar. One problem is resolved. The pillar collapses. It also blocks the path of the yellow weasels. The target is right in front of them. Beatrice swings her sword and strikes. The opponent catches the attack barehanded with invincible gauntlets. He quickly entangles Beatrice. He intends to deliver a fatal blow. Poe appears just in time and tackles both of them. He grabs a yellow weasel with one hand, and tries to remove the gauntlets with the other. Before he can act, a row of darts is shot towards him. While dodging, he allows Veruca to break free. The two yellow weasels quickly escape, and disappear from sight. Just as Beatrice is about to chase after them, she is immobilized by a distant hidden weapon, and falls to the ground. Poe sees that it was the black goat on the rooftop who attacked. He intends to move forward and attack. He is also bound by ropes and falls to the ground. Beatrice picks up her sword and cuts the ropes, freeing herself. She then strikes at the black goat with a sword, The two experts engage in a fierce battle. Neither of them is willing to admit defeat. Po takes advantage of the opportunity to break free, and escapes with Beatrice. They haven't run for long. When a sandstorm sweeps in from ahead, everyone gets caught in the dust storm. Visibility becomes unclear. The yellow weasels are fleeing ahead. The black goat is chasing from behind. The two of them don't know how to handle the situation. The black goat launches a rope projectile. They dodge in time and avoid getting hit. However, the next moment, they fall into the ground. It turns out a small fox dug a hole in the ground and came to their rescue. They climb out of the hole and realize that the sandstorm has ended. The black goat is nowhere to be found. They haven't walked for long when they indeed find an oasis. This is the entrance mentioned on the map. They enter the oasis to investigate. Suddenly, a giant stone creature emerges from the ground. The ground trembles as a result. It is at a staggering height of 100 meters. It's impossible to confront it head-on. Beatrice is captured in the giant's hand. Unable to move, Po is suspended at a high point. In this critical moment, Po doesn't forget to observe the surroundings. Apart from the oasis, there is nothing else around. Therefore, there must be something peculiar about this stone giant. The so-called lost city must hold some secrets. He then climbs into the mouth of the stone giant. Without hesitation, he jumps down from its throat. Beatrice follows suit without hesitation. As expected, they discover that the stone giant's belly is the lost city. The place is filled with ruins and in a state of complete decay. There are no signs of life whatsoever. The two cautiously search for the fire whip. They also need to beware of traps and mechanisms. Due to excessive nervousness, Po slips and falls to the ground. Coincidentally, he sees something inside the statue's mouth. Could this be the fire whip? Beatrice approaches to take a look. Suddenly, a monkey named Bai Mai appears on top of the statue. He holds a staff and urges them to leave quickly. He advises them not to linger here. It is said that he is the guardian of the fire whip. He won't easily give away the whip. The two sincerely explain the situation to him. Bai Mai is touched by their sincerity and hands over the whip. He reveals that there is an exit if they move the stone. However, the snowy white bones on the ground indicate that it won't be easy. Many people have entered here but few have left. There must be mechanisms that need to be unlocked. Beatrice expresses the need to be cautious. Po approaches the foot of the stone giant. He avoids the bones and gets closer to the giant. But in the next moment, all the bones come back to life. They attack Po with green glowing eyes. Beatrice is responsible for defeating them one by one. She also protects Bai Mai. As the number of skeleton monsters increases, Po uses all his strength to push the giant stone. Beatrice also helps. After the stone is moved, Bai Mai escapes first. Beatrice follows suit and runs out. Yet Po is grabbed by a skeleton hand. He couldn't escape. Bai Mai immediately reveals the truth. The staff is the real fire whip. He is just a thief, waiting for someone unlucky to open the door, and then take the opportunity to escape. With a swing of the fire whip, he cuts a tree in half. With a second swing of the fire whip, the earth trembles. Beatrice's sword is no match at all. The yellow weasels and black goat form an alliance in the distance. If they can capture Beatrice, he promised to give the fire whip to the yellow weasels. Each side gets what they want without owing each other. Veruca's gauntlet suddenly reacts. It is attracted by a certain energy. It flies to Po with Veruca. It's Po activating his thumb energy. He smashes the giant stone with a powerful punch. As long as they have a part of the gauntlet, they wait in place when using their power. The other part will fall into a trap. The previous tracking was all a waste of time. Bai Mai is still swinging the divine whip to attack. Po learns to use the gauntlet to defend. Bai Mai realizes that the opponent's abilities have instantly increased. Unable to match the opponent, Bai Mai flees directly. The battle continues from day to night. Unfortunately, it's a full moon tonight. The yellow weasels unleash dark magic. They control vines to entangle their enemies. Then they use the invincible gauntlet to deliver a powerful punch. Po is shaken into the forest. The yellow weasels continue their relentless pursuit. They continue to unleash the power of the gauntlet. Po holds Klaus hostage to defend against the attacks. Beatrice takes the opportunity to use her agile footwork to counterattack. She grabs the yellow weasel's wrist and pulls off the gauntlet. She directly captures the two yellow weasels. Veruca tries to use dark magic to escape, but unfortunately, it's already dawn. He can no longer rely on the power of the moonlight. In the distant palace, the Emperor captures Po's Mr. Ping. He wants him to write a letter to deceive Po to return, and capture him on the spot. Fathers also have dignity. As they say, our blood, who sell noodles, flows with noodle soup. He won't betray Po, who also has noodle soup flowing in his blood. He is immediately imprisoned in the Imperial dungeon. At this moment, a monkey arrives outside the palace hall. It's Bai Mai. He says he has a treasure to offer to the Emperor. In exchange, he asks for half the kingdom. The Emperor is furious. How did I encounter them today? They are all arrogant lunatics. He orders to imprison Bai Mai as well. Bai Mai realizes that if he doesn't demonstrate the power of the divine whip, you won't be convinced. So he spins and jumps without stopping. He even closes his eyes. The power of the divine fire whip is immense. It directly breaks the pillar protecting the country. The Emperor realizes that this treasure can counter Poe. He instantly changes attitude. The Emperor doesn't mind by my damaging public property. He opens the national treasury and sends silver. I'm going to keep this fire whip. Meanwhile, the yellow weasels are captured and brought to justice. Beatrice has successfully completed her mission, and plans to return to her country, although Poe is reluctant. He can't think of any words to persuade her to stay. In the end, he can only say goodbye at the dock. They row a small boat to pick water chestnuts. The beautiful scenery along the way is enchanting. Poe rows the boat at a speed of 20 miles per hour. He wants to prolong their time together. It happens to be the Mid-Autumn Festival today. There is a phenomenon of boat congestion on the river. Poe seizes the opportunity to play a piece on the erhu for everyone. However, his skills are poor, and it sounds like noise. The crowd covers their ears, and demands him to stop. Then, Poe takes out his favorite Xialong Babo to treat Beatrice. In fact, he put in a lot of effort to make Beatrice feel that this place is nice, hoping she would choose to stay. Beatrice hasn't received his intentions yet. The cunning yellow weasels shout loudly to the rhino guards. There is a wanted criminal here. The rhino guards hear it and spot Poe. They rush over to capture him. They want to make a notable achievement. Fortunately, Poe fights back and repels them, taking advantage of the moonlight and the lively atmosphere. The rhino guards are captivated by the full moon. Poe seizes the opportunity to escape, and runs into the forest on land. Now, he can only walk to the dock. Beatrice blames Poe for wasting time. She gets angry. At this moment, a full moon hangs in the sky. The yellow weasels activate their dark magic. Vines are controlled to take away the gauntlet and dagger. Beatrice still wants to counterattack. The yellow weasels trap Poe as a hostage. How should she choose between mission and friend? Beatrice can't bear it in her heart. She reveals the whereabouts of the divine whip. Bai Mai took it to the palace. The yellow weasels set off directly for the palace. Poe and Beatrice naturally follow along. Inside the palace, Bai Mai is counting gold, silver, and jewels, calculating whether the transactions are profitable or not. The Emperor orders someone to seize the divine whip. Bai Mai refuses to deliver the goods as his accounts are not settled. Naturally, he chooses to resist. With the divine whip in hand, I have the world. The next moment, Bai Mai steps on a mechanism. He disappears from the sight of everyone in an instant. He falls into the abyssal dungeon. The Emperor catches the divine whip. You're still too young to fight against me. I want the fire whip, but I won't give you the treasure. He is feeling proud and complacent. The yellow weasels arrive at the palace, but first, they arrive at the main hall. Surprisingly, it's Poe and Beatrice. The rhino guards immediately capture Poe. Poe wants to explain the reasons to the Emperor in person. Before he can speak, Black Goat appears. He presents a letter to the Emperor, exposing Beatrice's true identity. She is a fake knight and does not have the Emperor's command. Black Goat is the British royal knight responsible for capturing Beatrice. Beatrice was wanted for stealing the knight's attire and sword. The Emperor sees the Queen of England's personal signature. He allows Black Goat to take away Beatrice. Poe is locked up in the dungeon. There are many old friends here. Bai Mai is here. Mr. Ping is also here. Take another look. There's also Xiao Ci. Everyone's situation is the same, and they instantly form an alliance. They devise a plan to escape from the dungeon. Bai Mai calls for the lizard guards first. They seize the opportunity and knock them out. They snatch the keys and unlock their way to escape. At this moment, the dungeon trembles. Something must be happening on the ground. It's yellow weasels rampaging in the palace, causing chaos. The rhino guards, being mere mortals, are no match for Gauntlet's power. They are defeated one by one. When Poe and his group successfully escape to the surface, the palace is already in ruins. When the yellow weasels see Poe, without hesitation, they throw a punch. Poe refuses to back down and confronts them. The collision of their fists creates a powerful energy field. It instantly shakes the surrounding area. Taking advantage of the chaos, Bai Mai snatches the fire whip. He drives the sled and accelerates away. The Emperor personally joins the pursuit closely. The previous attack was a head-on clash. It severely damages Poe's energy and injures him, causing him to fall. At this moment, Beatrice rushes back. Just now, she was captured by Black Goat. Along the way, Beatrice pleads desperately. She says that the yellow weasels are using dark magic to endanger national security. She only stole things. Black Goat ignores these pleas. His mission is to capture Beatrice. Now the great achievement is complete. There won't be any more unnecessary complications. Beatrice is not convinced. She chooses to defeat the Black Goat and escape back. Seeing Poe injured, she feels heartbroken, and she reveals the truth about deceiving Poe. Her brother was a knight. He was injured while trying to capture the yellow weasels. The yellow weasels controlled the vines. They took away her brother's sword. Beatrice, despite being inexperienced, thought she could help and assist. The result was her brother taking the fatal blow meant for her. If she had acted within her limits, none of this would have happened. Her brother passed away as a result. Since then, she has been impersonating a knight to capture the yellow weasels, to fulfill her brother's mission, and to avenge him. Master Po is very understanding and forgiving. Now they need to join forces to deal with the yellow weasels. At this moment, the yellow weasels are following the trail of the fire whip, chasing after Bai Mai. On one side is the fire whip, on the other side is the invincible gauntlet. Neither side gives in. It depends on whose artifact's power is stronger. Bai Mai lashes the whip to knock down a large rock, blocking the yellow weasel's path. The yellow weasels deliver a powerful punch, smashing the stone and continuing the pursuit. Both sides race along the mountain road, chasing and pursuing each other. How will Po and the others catch up after falling behind? Xiao Ci from the dungeon comes in handy. If he make fireworks propulsion devices now, Po will be able to catch up with everyone. Xiao Ci's request is simple, just a loving hug. Then Po and his team set off with the propulsion of the fireworks. Mr. Ping is truly a skilled driver. He directly drops the sled in front of the yellow weasels. Along with Bai Mai's sled, the three sides start attacking and counter-attacking together. It's hard to tell who is getting hit and who is attacking. The three sides fiercely compete and refuse to yield. Veruca uses dark magic to block the path with vines. At this moment, the fire whip is in Po's hands. He swings the whip and attacks Veruca, interrupting her spell casting. Veruca still has the invincible gauntlet. She grabs the divine whip and delivers a powerful punch to the ground. The energy this time is too great. Everyone is blasted into the sky and then falls back down. The whip has fallen into Klaus's hands. Beatrice is still unsatisfied and wants to make a move. She ends up being knocked unconscious by a whip strike. Now, with the two great artifacts in hand, no one can stop the yellow weasels anymore. They prepare to leave and board a ship. At this moment, Bai Mai grabs the yellow weasels and makes them stumble. The divine whip is also taken away. Bai Mai is already out of strength. The yellow weasels snatch back the divine whip and board the ship. There's no need to finish off Bai Mai. As the ship of the two gradually moves away, Bai Mai is full of vitality and energy again. He swings the fire whip and starts dancing. It turns out he took the opportunity to switch the divine whip earlier. What the yellow weasels took away was nothing. So, Po, Beatrice, Bai Mai, and Mr. Ping are left together, gazing into the distance. They form a small team. They continue to pursue the yellow weasels to retrieve the invincible gauntlet. As for what the remaining two great artifacts are, we'll have to wait for the next episode to find out. That's it for our commentary today. See you in the next episode.